What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers. This is my Dana White's Contender Series Week 3 breakdown and prediction video, and I'm actually very excited for this card. This is a card that is, if you're a fan of violence, if you're a fan of finishes, you're going to be a fan of this card. I think we get maybe 4, maybe 5 even finishes on this card. All the totals are set at 1.5 rounds, which you don't typically see that too often. So, yeah, I think we're going to get some violence, we're going to get some contracts, and we're going to get some very fun and exciting fights on Tuesday. Before we get into it, if you guys can do me a couple favors, like the video, let's get those likes up. It is always much appreciated. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Around 800 subscribers away from 30K. That's the end of the year goal. And then also leave me a comment. You know, all comments go a long way. They help the algorithm and are much appreciated. If you want to go the extra mile and support me more and get more content, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. There you'll find all my UFC content as well as Dana White's Contender Series content. I'm doing a ton of content for DWCS. You get the fighter notes. I take a ton of notes on these fighters, and then I go ahead and I organize them and I send them out to you guys, put them in the Discord. The fight write-ups, I write up the fight. I do the best bet article where I give the prediction, the round, the method, the best bet for each and every fight on the card, the betting breakdown video where I talk about the card from a betting perspective, and much, much more. Check it out at dfsbythenumbers.com. And as you can kind of see at the top, it says Tumbers. I'm going to hit up my graphics guy, and I'm going to have to beat this guy's ass. I'm sick and tired of my graphics guy making mistake after mistake. So, but it should say Numbers, not Tumbers. I'm not sure what Tumbers even means. So I'm going to have to hit him up, and I'm going to have to kick his ass. But let's get into some ass kickings here, because somebody's ass is getting kicked in the first fight of the card. I mean, this fight's going to be just absolutely hilarious. And let me find my notes here that are extremely just out of order. And there we go. All right, so we got Donte Johnson going against Darion Abbey. And we'll start with Donte Johnson here. Johnson's training out of Gnosis Combat Sports. Johnson's 26 years old, 6 foot. He's 5-0, and obviously 5-0 in his only 5 fights. So no notable wins or losses for Donte Johnson. Johnson does have a 100% finish rate. All those come by knockout. No submissions on the record for Donte Johnson. Some notes I have on Johnson here. He's pretty small for heavyweight, and he's going to be very undersized in this matchup. He does have some heavy leg kicks. He does blitz in with big shots, and he seems to, be undersized in a lot of these matchups. Like, I'm watching a lot of his fights, and he looks like a welterweight going against these big giant heavyweights. Like, it's not typically ideal. But yeah, in a lot of these fights, he seems to have trouble finding the range against these longer guys, these bigger guys. But when he does land with a lot of big hard shots. And then he'll do a lot of backing up, and he doesn't really seem to have a ton of volume. He does his blitz. It kind of reminds me of like a Derek Lewis, right? Where Derek Lewis does a lot of nothing, and then he'll explode into like a big combination and then kind of put you out. And Johnson can definitely get wild. So it's like he's really composed. He's really looking to, pick his shots, and then he'll get wild. He'll blitz in and try to take your head off, which he's good at doing. He's best when he's walking forward and unloading on big shots. And when he does land, it's clear. This guy has a ton of power. He has heavy kicks to the legs, heavy kicks to the body. His leg kicks are disgusting. And I don't love the moments of inactivity, but like I said, when he's aggressive, and I'm hoping he's going to be aggressive here since it is Dana White's Contender Series, when he's aggressive, he's very, very dangerous. So Johnson can wrestle, but doesn't really wrestle that much. It's not really his game. But if he can't get on top, he does have vicious ground and pound. He's finished all of his professional wins by knockout, and he's finished all of his wins in the very first round. We have not seen him in a second round as a pro. As an amateur, I believe we have, but as a pro, we have not yet. And I don't think he should be fighting at heavyweight. I've seen him fight at light heavyweight before. He looked in much better shape. I just don't really think he's a heavyweight. I mean, he's 6 foot. I mean, this guy should probably be fighting at light heavyweight at the very least. So, in the future, would like to maybe see him move down a weight class, but, he still hits very hard. Although he is, very undersized, he still hits very hard for the division. He has power if he connects to absolutely put your lights out, and that's going to be important in this fight. Darion Abbey, he's training out of Down to Fight MMA. Abbey is 32 years old. He's 6'6", and he's 7-4 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So notable wins or losses: he knocked out Alex Nicholson in round 1 of his last fight. He was knocked out by 40-year-old Tim Johnson last year, and then he also knocked out Alex Lorenz in 2021. We'll be talking about Lorenz actually on the same card. They fought each other in Abbey went out there and knocked him out very brutally. So Abbey has an 86% finish rate. 56% of those come by knockout. 28% of those come by submission for an overall finish rate of 86%. Some notes I have here on Abbey is the first thing you see is just how massive this guy is. He's very long. He throws knees like uppercuts. I mean, this guy is just big for the division. But there are some red flags and some very, very big red flags. He's very hittable. He eats punches with his face, and that is a bold strategy at heavyweight. He has 3 knockout losses. And he's been finishing all 4 of his losses. He has 3 knockout losses, and then he has 1 submission loss. And he doesn't look to have the greatest chin at all, and it just looks like he's begging to be knocked out. It looks like he has a nasty fetish of just getting knocked out. Just a fetish of getting just KO'd still. Okay, this guy just is chin up in the air, tall man's defense, the whole thing. It's not great. And he has some solid knees, and he has a lot of power in his hands. And if he does land on you, if he lands that straight right hand, if he lands one of those knees, he can absolutely put you to sleep. His cardio is pretty bad in my opinion. He has no striking defense. He has no chin. He has that Dusko Todorovic chin up in the air type striking defense. And not only has he been knocked out 3 times in MMA, but he's also been knocked out multiple times in kickboxing as well. So he's getting knocked out in kickboxing. He's getting knocked out in MMA. He's getting knocked out by a hot shower. I mean, this guy, he's getting knocked out left and right. And I don't know about this guy. He's definitely kill or be killed. And I can see why he's always getting KO'd. But, man, I mean, this is a heavyweight fight. Anything can happen. But I'm not too impressed with Abbey at all. And Johnson's not a heavyweight in my opinion. So this is a weird dynamic for the first fight of the card. I think this fight's an absolute mess. Johnson's somebody who go down to light heavyweight, go down to middleweight even. I think is extremely undersized at heavyweight and extremely undersized in this matchup. Like, these two are going to look 2 or 3 weight classes apart from each other. Abbey's definitely the bigger guy, but he has no striking defense and he has no chin. This fight comes down to who's going to land first, and I don't trust either one of these guys, but I'm going to take Johnson here. I think Johnson's more durable. I think he's a lot more defensively sound, and he also has the power and should have no problem landing on the face or the chin of Abbey. I think somebody's getting served here. I think somebody's getting served brutally. I think somebody's getting served in the first round, but I'm going to take Johnson to win this fight and win it by first round knockout. And I just want to caution, I know people love doing the parlays on Dana White's Contender. I would not parlay Johnson at minus 285. When I saw this line, I was kind of surprised because this guy's not a heavyweight. But man, is Abbey hittable. So somebody's getting knocked out in round 1 in my opinion, but I'll take Johnson KO 1. Up next, we have, in my opinion, the best fight on the card. I mean, I'm really looking forward to this fight. I'm really looking forward to both these guys. This is in my opinion, the highest level fight on the entire card. We got Manoel Sousa going against Cristian Perez. We'll start with Sousa. He is training out of Academia Octagono. He's 28 years old. He's 5'9" with a 69-inch reach. He's 12-1 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So notable wins or losses for Manoel Sousa. He lost to undefeated Archie Colgan by decision last year. Very close fight. And then most notably, which we'll hear a lot this week, is he knocked out Marcio Hufi in 2019. So we have Sousa with an 83% finish rate. 57% of those come by knockout, and 25% of those come by submission. Very well-rounded guy, equal opportunity finisher. Notes I have on Sousa: he has a lot of power in his hands, and he swings with very bad intentions. He puts 110% into every single one of his shots. He lands hard shots to the body, nasty short shots on the inside, and he can land some knees up close as well. Has a really good arsenal of attacks to the knees, with the knees to the body. And those uppercuts are nasty. He swarms his opponent when they're hurt, and he has a ton of power in his left hand, and just really good combinations, really good volume, really good aggressiveness, and just a really dangerous fighter. The ground game looks solid. He will hunt for subs and has solid ground and pound as well, and he's very aggressive on the mat. Not only is he aggressive on the feet, but he's aggressive when the fight hits the mat as well. He'll attack with submissions off his back, has some pretty slick BJJ, but he does have submission over position, here and there, and that could potentially cost him maybe in this fight a little bit, and going forward, giving a position and going for submissions type thing. But yeah, he's dangerous wherever the fight goes. He's always looking for the finish, whether he's on the feet or on the mat. I was very, very impressed with Manoel Sousa, and I think he absolutely is a UFC-ready fighter at this moment. Cristian Perez, he's training out of the Goat Shed, which we've seen some guys go in there and trained at the Goat Shed lately, have some success. Perez is 26 years old, 5'9", with a 69-inch reach. Perez is 13-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Perez. Some notes I have on him is he's still pretty young. Both these guys are. Perez is 26 years old, and we have Sousa, who's 28 years old, but yeah, still very young, and he's making massive improvements, and he's at a good gym at the Goat Shed. He has heavy low kicks, a great volume, and he looks to come forward and throw in combination. He throws head kicks, and he has a lot of power in his hands, a lot of power, and he does hurt most of his opponents. Like, I was watching his fights, he's dropping and hurting the majority of the guys he's facing in these fights. The cardio and the toughness he has is incredible. He hasn't been finished in 14 fights, and he doesn't slow down. Some notes I have on his grappling here is he's very aggressive on top with ground and pound, and he has really good control on top as well. His control's good, slick BJJ, and he's really nasty when he gets on top of his opponents. He's extremely aggressive, and he's having fun. He's having fun in there, right? He's dangerous wherever the fight goes as well. I think the ceiling is very high for Perez, and he's only going to get better each and every single time he steps in the cage at only 26 years old. I think the sky's the limit for this guy. I think the sky's the limit for both guys. I think both these guys are UFC-ready fighters, and that's why this is such a good and compelling fight. Final thoughts here. Both these guys are very fun prospects, and I think this is going to be the best fight on the card, no doubt about it. I think it's definitely the most well-matched fight on the card for sure. I think these two are very well-matched. Both these guys are well-rounded. Both these guys, can strike, can grapple. I think the striking exchanges on the feet will be close, and I think the grappling exchanges on the mat will be very fun and exciting. I'm going to leave with Sousa here. I think both these guys are UFC-ready, but Sousa is the more proven fighter in my opinion. I think he's more UFC-ready at this moment. But I would be shocked if Perez did not make his way to the UFC in the very near future. And, Sousa has fought the better guys, and, a big talking point this week is going to be the Hoofy fight. And that's absolutely fair, and that's absolutely valid, because that win has aged incredibly. This guy Sousa is out there beating Marcio Hoofy. That's a 10 times better win than a win Cristian Perez has. So I get it. I think Sousa should be favored here, but I do think this is going to be a competitive fight. I'm going to take Sousa here to win this one by decision. I think it's going to be an all-out war. I think it's going to be the best fight on the card, but a finish would not shock me here. But I'm going to say, Perez's toughness, the cardio, leads me to believe that this fight will be just an all-out war that does go the distance. Give me Manoel Sousa to win this fight, win it by decision, and yeah, I would not be shocked if both these guys are in the UFC in the very near future, like I said. All right, moving on to the next fight here, and I'm going to have to pull up my pronunciations. All right, we got Abdulrakhman, Yakhyaev, going against Alik, Lorenz. We'll start with Yakhyaev. Yakhyaev, he's training out of MMA Nuremberg. He's 24 years old, 6'2", with a 78.5-inch reach. Yakhyaev is 6-0 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Yakhyaev. 83% finish rate. 33% of those come by knockout, and 50% of those come by submission. So some notes I have on Yakhyaev is he's only 24 years old. 24 years old, very young. I think he has a very high ceiling. He looks pretty dang good, and he became a pro just recently, 2021. Yakhyaev has really good forward pressure, good kicks to the body, and will look to land knees to the body as well. He doesn't give his opponents any room to breathe, whether he's striking or looking for takedowns, and I love that. I really like the combinations while he gets his opponents against the cage. He backs them up, just nonstop forward pressure type thing. It's really good work from him, forward pressure-wise. Has great uppercut as well, and great volume, and just great urgency in there as well. He can and he will look to wrestle, and he has really good wrestling. I've seen him pick guys up and slam them. The pace he pushes is absolutely insane. He's always coming forward from the opening bell. He's always pumping out volume, and he's always wrestling. He's always doing something. There's not any second of inactivity from this guy. He's always, doing something in there, which you love to see, and he has the cardio to do so. He has really slick grappling. He's finished half his wins by submission. The ground and pound is very good as well, and he has a lot of power, and he's very aggressive. I love his style. He's dangerous wherever the fight goes. I was very impressed with Yakhyaev. As far as Alik Lorenz, he's training out of Hard Drive Mixed Martial Arts. Lorenz is 28 years old, 6'3", with a 77-inch reach. He is 6-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses from Lorenz there, outside of he did get knocked out by, what's-his-face, the heavyweight we talked about earlier. But yeah, Lorenz has a 100% finish rate. 83% of those come by knockout, and 17% of those come by submission. Some notes I have on Lorenz. He has hard leg kicks and a very nice jab. He's aggressive and he is long. He fights like his hair's on fire. That's why I think this fight's going to be a lot of fun here. This guy fights like he's double parked. Got to get in there and got to get out, right? He's only been out of the first round once in his career, and he was able to actually get a third round finish. His cardio didn't look that great, but his cardio did look better than his opponent's, so he's able to get that late finish. Doesn't have the best striking defense. He will eat punches with his face at times, and he's very tough, very tough. It will be wild, or he will be wild and overly aggressive in there, and he has that kind of eat one to give one type style, and he does get really sloppy, later into the fight. He can get taken down. I saw him get taken down and get his back instantly taken, and I believe it was his last fight. And he can get takedowns as well if he wants them, but I think he has pretty horrible control and doesn't really seem to have the best grappling, and just not really his game, and especially not here in this fight. He is submission over position, but I'm not really sure he's much of a submission threat at this level. So, final thoughts on this fight. Lorenz brings a fun style, but I really worry about his striking defense. I really worry about his cardio, and I really worry about his grappling. I think Yakhyaev is going to have a big advantage, really wherever the fight goes. I see Yakhyaev winning this fight by any method, but I can see him mixing in takedowns, getting into a dominant position, and locking up a submission. I think there's a massive gap in the grappling, and if Yakhyaev gets his fight down to the ground, I expect him to make this look pretty easy. Give me Yakhyaev to win this fight and win it by second round submission. And we got the odds here. Yakhyaev minus 900, the biggest favorite on the card by a mile. Lorenz is plus 600, and I get it. I think Yakhyaev's absolutely the real deal, and I think this is a very bad matchup for Alik Lorenz. Give me Yakhyaev, and I'll take him to win this fight by sub. All right. Up next, another phenomenal fight. This card is littered with phenomenal fights. Phenomenal fights here. Marcio Barbosa going against Damon Wilson. We'll start with Barbosa here. He's training out of Giants team. He's 27 years old, 5'7". Barbosa is 16-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Notable wins or losses for Barbosa. He lost to Gabriel Santos in 2022 by second round knockout, and we'll definitely talk more about that fight in a little bit. Barbosa has a 94% finish rate. 81% of those come by knockout, and he has a 13% submission rate, so he's finished all but one of his wins. Some notes I have on Barbosa. He likes to get his reads a little bit early on, but once he starts to get going, he gets going. He has some really quick hands. The left hook is fast and powerful. Tons of movement on the feet, and he brings steady pressure from the opening bell. Pretty much stalks his opponents. He backs him up, and then he lands combinations. He has a ton of power in his hands. I watched a lot of his fights. It's just first round knockout, first round knockout, first round knockout. This guy is extremely aggressive. I love the pressure as well, and he isn't looking to win fights by decision. He definitely isn't looking to win fights by decision. He'll work the body nice. He'll go up to the head. Everything he throws is in combination, and everything he throws is with power. He doesn't let his opponents breathe in there. He's breaking guys with his pressure. He's breaking guys with that left hook. And I was extremely impressed with Barbosa and his striking. His striking absolutely looks UFC ready to me. So he is not looking to get the fight down to the ground at all. I don't believe I've seen much wrestling, if any wrestling at all. But Gabriel Santos did take him down in the first round and did get to his back at some point. He did stuff the takedowns well initially, but at some point Santos did get to the back of Barbosa here. And he dropped Santos. He dropped Gabriel Santos in the first round, but he was knocked out in the second with a head kick. And the chin ultimately could be a potential issue because he does have 2 losses, and both those losses do come by knockout. So the chin may not be the best. 15 wins inside the distance and 15 wins in the very first round. And something to mention is he is only 1-2 in fights that have went past round 1. So he's winning in the first round, and if not, he's 1-2. 1-2. As far as Damon Wilson's training out of Alliance MMA. Wilson is 32 years old, 5'9". He's 9-2 and 4-1 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Wilson there. Wilson has a 67% finish rate. All those come by knockout. Some notes I have on Damon Wilson. He starts very quickly. He comes forward like a zombie. The entire fight, just eating damage. He comes forward and he's there to be hit. He is a tough dude, but he is blocking punches with his face, and he has not the best strategy, but he's walking to a lot of punches face first, And, that could be a problem in general, and then it could be a problem here as well, especially. He does have some hard kicks, has a nice knee as well. I've seen him get a couple finishes with, knees to the head, the forward pressure. He will break some lower-level guys. And one thing I want to mention is Wilson has been knocked out before, so both these guys have been knocked out. He can mix in takedowns, but I'm not sure he's the best wrestler, and he does primarily want to stand. And I think he's just absolutely screwed on the feet here, to be honest. But he does need to weather an early storm, mix in some takedowns, and if Wilson can extend this fight to the second round, I think his chances of winning kind of increase heavily. But it's going to be one hell of a first round, that's for sure. So final thoughts on this fight. I was extremely impressed with the striking of Barbosa, and I think he's just going to have a field day on the feet against, the very hittable. I mean, Wilson reminds me of one of those, those Bob punching bags? It reminds me of one of those. He's a tough dude, don't get me wrong, but I mean, you can't just eat punches with it, especially against Barbosa here. Barbosa mixes it up to the head, to the body, and has a ton of power and a ton of finishing ability. 15 wins, or 16 wins, 15 finishes, 15 first-round finishes is ridiculous. I don't love Wilson's chances here. For Wilson, he's going to have to mix in the wrestling, take a beating, and hope Barbosa slows down. But it's hard to pick somebody to go out there and Homer Simpson their way to a win. I don't like picking, Homer Simpson type fighters, and that's kind of how I see Wilson winning if he were to win. But yeah, I see Wilson getting hit hard, getting hit clean, getting hit early. Give me Barbosa to win this fight and win it by first round finish. I think somebody's getting served here. I think somebody's going to get served in very brutal fashion, but unfortunately, I think that's Damon Wilson. I think Damon Wilson's getting served by first round knockout. So give me Barbosa. Barbosa by first round knockout. Main event time. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button for me. Get those likes up. And leave me a comment as well. Help out the algorithm a little bit. Let's do it. But yeah, main event. So we talked about a lot of really fun fights thus far. So my main event is probably the Perez fight, or even like the Perez fight, or even the fight we just talked about, the Barbosa fight. Those are two really good fights, but this is another really good fight, and it should be a lot of fun. We got Ryan Gandra going against Trent Miller. We got Gandra. He's training out of Flavio Bolano team. He's 30 years old, 6'1". He's 7-1 and 5-0 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Gandra. He has a 72% finish rate. 43% of those come by knockout. 28% of those come by submission. Some notes I have on Gandra is he's mostly composed in there, but he can swing wild at times. And he will really load up, and he will swing for the fences in there. A lot of power in his hands, and if he's able to connect, he will absolutely put your lights out. And he'll do a lot of waiting, and then he'll end up throwing some massive overhands. He will throw kicks to the head, kicks to the body, and kicks to the leg, which I do like. I've seen him stand and swing dicks in there at times. He's down to go in there, he's down to get in a brawl, and he's down to swing dicks. His hands do start to drop when he gets tired, and it definitely seems to slow down as the fight goes on, and that makes a lot of sense considering the pace he's going at, and then makes sense considering, when you're putting 120% into all of your shots. I mean, you're gonna slow down, right? The takedown defense looks pretty solid, and he's hard to hold down and control on the mat, and kind of pop back up if guys do take him down. He can get held against the cage at times, but if he's able to get on top, he's pretty dang good, and he has some really solid ground and pound, and he's very aggressive. Gandra's a fun fighter. He's down to brawl. He's down to try to take your head off in wild exchanges on the feet. I've seen him get takedowns. His control looks good. The ground and pound looks good. I think the cardio is a little suspect for sure, and that's something to definitely mention. And again, he can get a little bit sloppy as the fight goes on. So yeah, Gandra, he's fun. He's exciting. This is going to be fun. This is going to be exciting. As far as Trent Miller, his opponent, I believe Trent Miller is taking this fight on somewhat short notice. I forget who Gandra was supposed to fight, but I believe Miller's coming in here on short notice. Miller is a Extreme Couture guy, so already in Vegas. But yeah, Miller is 29 years old, 5'11", with a 71-inch reach. He's 8-2 and 3-2 in his last 5 fights. No notable wins or losses for Miller. And something I want to mention is it's a horrible level of competition for Trent Miller. Miller does have an 88% finish rate. 75% of his wins come by knockout. 13% of his wins come by submission. Notes I have on Miller. He has a lot of power in his hands. He does seem a little bit stiff on the feet, and he does throw wild in there. He is very reckless in there as well, and he doesn't seem to have the best strike and defense. He doesn't move his head at all. Just looks kind of sloppy in there, right? Doesn't look like the best minute winner. I've seen him, lose a lot of minutes and kind of relies on, big moments and relies on touching the chin of his opponent. I think if he's going to win fights, he's going to win them by finish more often than not. I've seen him do just a ton of swinging and missing, and he really loads up on his punches, and I mean loads up. And yeah, wasn't too impressed with Trent Miller. I'll say that. He can mix in takedowns here or there, but he does seem to have fallen in love with his hands a little bit. And when he does take you down, he doesn't really seem to possess that control to kind of keep you down. And yeah, I don't think he has the best cardio either, which makes sense with the way this guy fights as well, because he's going out there kind of swinging dicks with no regards to his own safety. And just, again, a horrible level of competition. Just has fought absolutely nobody. If he's able to beat Ryan Gandra, I mean, it'd be his best win by a mile if he's able to pull off this upset. But yeah, if he can connect on you, he can hurt you. But I'm not sure he's a UFC level fighter. I do think he has a puncher's chance, like most guys do. But I'm just not sure Trent Miller is ready for the UFC or really ever will be. So final thoughts on this matchup. Yeah, Miller is taking this fight on somewhat short notice. And to be honest, I wasn't really impressed with either guy here. I mean, I think I see why they made this the main event. Like, it's going to be fun. It's going to be sloppy, but yeah, I don't know. But, I think the better fighter here, without a doubt, is Gandra. I think this fight's going to be hilarious. I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be a mess. Both these guys swing for the fences, and I think both these guys are going to be looking to take each other's heads off. I think Gandra is the better striker. I think he has more power. I think he has the better cardio. I think he's more defensively sound. I think Miller is somewhat live and what should be like a total slugfest, but, Gandra really should beat this guy and beat him pretty handedly. So I got to take Gandra. I'm going to take him to win this fight by first-round knockout. I think this is going to be a dick-swinging competition here in this fight, and I'm going to say Ryan Gandra has the bigger dick. There you guys have it. Those are the predictions for Dana White's Contender Series week number 3. Chalky week. Lots of big favorites this week, but lots of finishes coming. I'd be shocked if there wasn't at least 4 finishes. I'm saying four finishes on this card. 5 contracts. I think it's another 5-contract week. I think the UFC has set some of these fighters up to succeed, set some of these fighters up for a big finish, and I think it's going to be another very good card. So that's about it, guys. If you guys could do me a favor on the way out, like, subscribe, leave me a comment, check out dfsbythenumbers.com. Going to be working on the betting article coming up. Props are starting to drop, hopefully in the very near future. The betting breakdown video will be out for the members as well. And then Tuesday, I will be live for the Fight Companion on the channel. So check me out on Tuesday for the Fight Companion, where we can do some live betting, talk some props, some parlays, all that good stuff with you guys. People seem to really like those Fight Companions, so check me out there. And other than that, guys, best of luck for Dana White's Contender Series week number 3. I think this week is going to be another great one. See you guys.